With her fiery red hair, cut brown eyes, and no apologies attitude, Clara Bow became Hollywood's first true flapper girl. But behind the charm was a woman whose private life was even hotter than what was seen on screen. From secret affairs and scandalous trials and raw, unapologetic passion, this is the true story of Clara Bow's explosive love life. Clara Bow's story in the slums of Brooklyn 1905, far from glamour and glitz. She was raised in poverty by a mentally unstable mother and an alcoholic father. One could say Clara's childhood was closer to a horror movie than a fairy tale. But everything changed when she won Brewster's Publications' The Fame and Fortune acting contest in the fall of 1921. She was launched into the world of movies, and that gave her the only kind of power a woman from her world could dream of. B.P. Schulberg took her to Hollywood, where she worked her way into becoming a superstar. She didn't become Hollywood's first ever queen of seduction because she was the most refined, but because she was raw, lusty, and beautiful. And it showed in every role she took. Clara oozed sexual appeal in excess. It was said she could flirt with the camera just by looking into it with her big brown eyes and mischievous bow tie grin. Her breakout role came from the 1927 film It, where she got the tag The It Girl. Clara didn't play an innocent virgin or a noble wife. She played a shop girl who demanded to be slept with the shine of her eyes and the flick of her hair. It was the silent film era, and as it turned out, she didn't need to speak to get attention. The performance she put up in the movie practically dripped with heat. Clara's characters were an extension of the sensuality she already portrayed. Her characters wore shortened dresses to look sexier and cut off her hair. They drank and smoked publicly, danced all night long, and went after men without shame. The result was that her audiences loved her, and men couldn't stop chasing her. The earliest publicized affair Clara Bow had in Hollywood was with Gilbert Roland. He was a Latin actor with a reputation with women that matched Clara's with men. They met on the set of The Plastic Age in 1925. Off camera, they were just as uninhibitedly in love. For over 2 years, Clara and Gilbert were Hollywood's hottest young couple. She described him as her first really big love experience. Though Clara Bow's relationship with Gilbert Roland was passionate, it had been doomed from the start. He was a bullfighter before he started acting and had a ruggedly handsome face. He couldn't speak much English, and she was the hottest star in Hollywood with a Brooklyn accent. Yet both of them were deeply insecure. "We was real happy," Clara once said. "Sorta like two youngsters that didn't know what life was all about and was scared to death of it." But Clara's controlling father hated Roland for being Mexican and Catholic, calling him a greasy Mexican, and repeatedly tried to end a relationship. Meanwhile, Clara found it impossible to resist the attention from other men, including the Hollywood director Victor Fleming and another wealthy socialite, Robert Savage, who made headlines after a failed suicide stunt when she turned him down. Clara dismissed the news with her trademark sass. "Well, let me tell you this. When a man attempts suicide over a woman, he don't cut his wrists with a safety razor blade, then drape himself over a couch with a cigarette between his lips. No, they don't do it that way. They use pistols." Her rising fame, his jealousy, and the constant drama around them caused Clara and Roland to drift apart eventually, but they will never forget each other. Clara didn't mourn for long. New lovers came fast and sometimes came in multiples. That same year, she was spotted partying with several USC football players. The press later called it a football harem. Part of the team she was rumored to be with was a young offensive tackle, Maria Morrison, who would later be popularly known as John Wayne. Though the rumors were exaggerated, what is true is that Clara had zero interest in hiding her desires. In 1926, Clara and Victor Fleming got serious while shooting Mantrap. He was the director of the movie, and this time around, she had no stable man in her life. Their on-set romance turned into something more. He proposed to her, and she accepted, and their engagement made the headlines. Unfortunately, the romance didn't blossom into marriage as they had hoped, due to a disagreement they couldn't fix. The incident didn't slow her down. She simply moved on to other lovers. Another of her most high-profile flings was with Gary Cooper. Young, long-limbed, with a face that compelled attention, Gary was just starting his career when he and Clara hooked up around 1927. They met while shooting the film Children of Divorce, which was said to have more on-screen passion than plot. It was Clara who helped him get the role. Their chemistry was real. And Gary, being the ladies' man, couldn't resist. The affair didn't last long. Clara moved too fast, while Gary had ambitions beyond being a toy boy. He found Clara's lifestyle depressing and couldn't keep up with it. After Gary, she was linked to a string of powerful men, including Bela Lugosi, the man who would become known as Dracula. They had a one-time fling. It was short, fiery, and kept secret. But the secret didn't hold up. Bella's wife found out, and when she filed for divorce on the grounds of infidelity, she named Clara Bow as the other woman in their marriage. Though their relationship was brief, it made enough of an impression on Bela that he had a nude portrait of Clara and kept it till he died. When she was at the peak of her career, Clara was also under huge pressure from studio heads. She was overworked and often manipulated by the men who claimed they loved her. BP Schulberg started withdrawing her from roles when she, according to him, became too wild to control. Then Clara ditched the Hollywood playbook and began to dress however she pleased. Once, she showed up to a formal dinner in a bathing suit. She was also known to paint her legs instead of wearing stockings. She started gambling recklessly, even when her bank account couldn't keep up with it. Her wild spirit and total disregard for social norms kept her locked out of Hollywood's elite circles. To them, she was still just a poor, loud girl from Brooklyn. As rumors spread about her in booze, drugs, and nonstop parties, the press turned cruel. Her popularity took a hit. In 1931, her name was dragged through the mud during the infamous Daisy DeVoe trial. Daisy had been Clara's secretary. When she was fired for embezzlement, she threatened to expose private letters, love notes, and even indecent photos of Clara, which she had allegedly sent to lovers in court. And she did. From then on, Schulberg started calling her Crisis a Day Clara. The media had a field day with the news. Headlines claimed Clara had slept with dozens of men, from actors and directors to chauffeurs and waiters. Some reports even said she had wild parties at her home. While most of the claims were never proven, the public believed them. One particular tabloid reporter blew up the stories about Clara excessively. It claimed she was sleeping with women, using drugs, and bestiality. Ultimately, the publisher was convicted of sending obscene materials through the mail and was sentenced to prison. However, Clara's dating life had become entertainment for the masses, and it nearly ruined her. Clara herself admitted it. "I'm a curiosity in Hollywood. I'm a big freak because I'm myself." Amid the chaos, Clara met Rex Bell, a tall, handsome cowboy actor. He was different, grounded, steady, and protective. They married in 1931, and for some time, it seemed like she had finally found peace. But even then, the wildness didn't go away entirely, and Rex didn't live long enough to tame her. By the mid-1930s, Clara had started to pull away from Hollywood. Her health, both mentally and physically, was declining. The years of pressure, heartbreak, and constant exploitation had taken their toll. She suffered from anxiety and what was then diagnosed as nervous exhaustion. It was later revealed in her 40s that she was dealing with untreated mental illness, namely bipolar disorder. But no one in the industry cared enough to find out. They just called her difficult and moved on. In 1933, Clara finally retired with her husband Rex to a ranch in Searchlight, Nevada, where they had 2 children together. She continued to live there as a rancher after Rex died in 1962. Still, even in retirement and in death at age 60, her legend lived on. She served as an inspiration for the creation of Betty Boop, the famous squeaky-voiced flapper girl icon. The story also goes that the boom mic was created because of Clara. Dorothy Arzner, who invented it, was the director of Clara's first talkie film, The Wild Party, in 1929. She had a habit of walking around during filming, which was not an issue during the silent era, but it proved to be a problem to deal with in the early talking era, when they had to plant microphones on set. So, to track Clara as she restlessly moved during filming, the director attached a microphone to a fishing rod, and that's how the boom mic was born. Because of her scandalous legacy, people still gossip about her supposed orgies, flapper girl lifestyle, and scandalous letters decades later. But the truth remains, Clara Bow was never ashamed of her sexuality. She just refused to play the virgin when she was the epitome of wildness.
If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll enjoy the one on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you at the next one.